The station with the most local news. This is News 4 at 6:30.
Right now on News 4 at 6:30, a potential threat stopped by a watchful parent. What school officials say two third graders tried to bring to school.
And we've got a couple of clouds moving in right now, but mainly still pretty clear out there. That's going to change as we move into Wednesday. We'll talk about those details coming up.
And new numbers from Erie County leaders show a drop in overdose deaths, what leaders say may be a driving force behind this. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight at 6:30. I'm Dave Graber.
And I'm Christy Kern. A lot of sunshine out there today and warmer temperatures, but unfortunately some changes are on the way. Forewarned meteorologist Kaylee Wentz is tracking it all in your forecast first at 6:30. Hi, Kaylee.
Good evening. We are unfortunately tracking some clouds increasing and also some rain showers on the way. And if you haven't liked the spring-like weather we've been seeing, well, a batch of winter or a burst of winter is going to be heading our way as we end out the work week. So at this point, still pretty quiet, still pretty mild. A gorgeous shot over Niagara Falls. We had a lot of viewers send us in sunset photos, and you can see here just a gorgeous evening. Now, south of the city, we have seen a bit of some high clouds move into the area, but overall, things are still pretty clear. And they're going to stay pretty similar to what they are now as we move through the overnight. It's early tomorrow morning that you can expect things to look a bit more overcast, and then eventually those rain showers moving in. Now, temperatures are very mild still, in the mid-40s for Buffalo, for Springville and Batavia. We've even got some low 50s showing up on the map still, which is about 20 degrees above where temperatures typically sit this time of year. The downside to today was that it was a bit breezy, but you will notice that those wind speeds have died down pretty significantly tonight, and they remain between about 5 and 15 miles per hour. Now, temperatures are going to be dropping as we get into the later portions of the night tonight, down into the 30s and low 40s. But pretty quickly tomorrow, they're going to recover into the 50s earlier on. Now, once it does start to rain, that's when we're going to see temperatures plummet. And that's what we'll focus in on in my full forward forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Kelly, thanks very much. Authorities in Western New York are investigating yet another threat to a school.
This time it involves two third graders at Abbott Elementary School in Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls Superintendent Mark Laurie tells News 4 a parent saw the students carrying a BB gun while on their way to school. The parent notified the school officials, and when the students arrived, they were stopped by the principal. The students told the principal that they left the BB gun at an abandoned house on Willow Avenue.
If you're looking for a silver lining, it wasn't on the property, but most disturbing is that they had that in their possession. The other piece of good news is that the parent stepped forward, heard something, and said something immediately, and we were able to prevent the situation that could have been a problem.
The superintendent says the students are facing consequences from both the school and police. Yesterday, a similar incident also in Niagara County when a 16-year-old former student of Newfane Schools was arrested and charged with 2 misdemeanors after making a threat. Meanwhile, this afternoon, Buffalo police and the Buffalo School District pulled a student out of class after a verbal threat to another student. A spokesperson for the district says the police determined the threat was unfounded. The student, however, will face discipline per the district's code of conduct. We're working to find out in which school this took place.
New information tonight on a man involved in a standoff that shut down part of the thruway for hours. We're learning the man was armed. Leaders with the New York State courts released the man's name as John Pizzino of Amherst. He works as a sergeant at the Erie County Courthouse. He's charged with resisting arrest and unlawfully fleeing a police officer in a motor vehicle. The standoff went on for several hours in the 90 West between Leroy and Pembroke. No one was hurt. We're told Pizzino is being evaluated at a hospital. He will appear in court next month.
All new at 6:30, we're hearing from a Cheektowaga councilman days after he was arrested for violating a protection order. Councilman James Rogowski appeared at a work session tonight in Cheektowaga ahead of a scheduled meeting at 7 o'clock.
News 4's Kellen Gray just spoke with the councilman. She joins us now live in Cheektowaga. Kellen?
Christy, Dave, Councilman Jim Rumkowski got emotional as he gave us just a brief statement saying he loves his family and that all questions need to be forwarded to his West Seneca lawyer. We were able to ask him, however, whether he plans to remain on the council given the accusations against him, and he said he sees no reason to step down. Earlier during that work session, which started at 5 o'clock, you would never know something transpired over the weekend. He was engaged in the conversation, asking questions during a presentation. But again, we talked to him right before that work session, and at that time as well, he got emotional talking about the effect this has had on his family. Now, Rogowski was arrested Friday in West Seneca and has been charged with criminal contempt and making threats. This all stems from what's being described as a domestic incident. Police say it was a kind of road rage situation on Orchard Park Road. He violated a protection order in Cheektowaga, or a protection order that Cheektowaga police say stemmed from a dispute earlier this month on February 16th.
Let's not forget that this is a family matter. Accusations have been filed against me and my character. I look forward to the opportunity to have my day in court.
Now, we are still trying to get more details about what exactly happened on Friday night. Rogowski is expected back in court on March 13th. He is also a teacher at Lockport High School. We asked him, or we tried to talk to the superintendent about his employment there moving forward. They told us they cannot comment on any employee matters or personnel matters. We're going to go back inside this meeting here that starts at about 7 o'clock, and we'll bring you updates on what happens here and if his board members have anything to say about the situation. For now, reporting in Cheektowaga, Kellen Gray, News 4.
We are not at the end of the opiate epidemic in Erie County. There's no doubt about that. But I'd like to think that we're at least at the beginning of the end.
Erie County leaders say they are making progress in the opioid epidemic that has claimed hundreds of lives every year for the past 5 years. For the first time since 2013, there were fewer overdose deaths than the year before.
Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz and Health Commissioner Gail Burstein made the announcement today. They say 223 overdose deaths were confirmed last year. 35 of those cases are still pending. It's a significant drop from 2016 when 301 people died. Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz declared the opioid epidemic a public health crisis in 2016. The county's implemented several programs since then, including training for Narcan and naloxone. Poloncarz says more than 10,000 people have been trained since.
If you do not have the Narcan in the hands of first responders and just average citizens, I think we might have seen more deaths. It's as simple as that. But we had a very strong program to train individuals, which I'm glad to say other communities are replicating.
It's just really everybody in the community working together and contributing what they can do best to end this epidemic.
New billboards will be going up starting in April with the number for the county's 24-hour hotline. And coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be talking to someone directly affected by the opioid crisis live in our studio.
The South Buffalo man is speaking out tonight, claiming he was sexually abused by a retired priest of the Buffalo Diocese when he was 14 years old. Michael Whalen says he was invited on a weekend ski trip to the cabin of Reverend Norbert Olsolitis in Springville. Whalen claims he was there with two other people when the abuse happened. The former priest has never been charged as the statute of limitations has run out. Whalen says it took him years to seek help for the trauma. He says he suffered. He's hoping he will inspire other victims to share their stories.
Will people judge me? Will they look at me differently? Will, just all that plays on your mind on how the world's going to perceive you, by coming forward. I'm at that point now where I know there's other victims, if not with Father Nord, with other clergy, to step forward. They need to step forward.
The Diocese of Buffalo would not answer specific questions about Whalen's allegations, but they say Orsolaitis was removed from the ministry in 2003.
The Child Victims Act is something that could give Whalen more time with his case. It's up for a vote in the Senate this spring after being blocked for 5 years. Child sex abuse survivors and advocates rallied in Albany today. The Child Victims Act is included in Governor Andrew Cuomo's budget proposal this year. If changed, the statute of limitations for sex crimes would allow a victim to report a crime until they are 28 years old. It would also mean a victim could sue until they turn 50.
The bill is going to provide justice for people who are very badly hurt. So now is the moment to get this done.
This is something that will be negotiated through the final budget. So, I haven't seen that yet. It hasn't really been discussed or fleshed out yet. So we'll see what people come up with.
The governor's final budget is due April 1st.
Closing arguments in the trial against Governor Cuomo's former top aide have wrapped up for the day. Joseph Rococo is accused of taking hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes. Prosecutors pointed out emails sent by Rococo using the word ziti as a code word for bribes. Rococo has not testified, and he maintains he is innocent. So to come on News 4 at 6:30, the founder of the organization Save the Michaels joins us live on set. You'll hear Avi Israel's take on the drop in opioid-related deaths and whether the region is really winning the fight. That's next.